Do you hear that? Shh, listen. Do you hear? I hear. Wait a minute. I think somebody's in trouble. Hold on, listen. Wait a minute. I think I'm hearing somebody saying, SOS! I hear them shouting. Boom, boom, SOS! I hear them crying. It is time to bring back Kofi Kingston. Yes, I know where the New Day are today. They just, about 2 weeks ago, made this grandiose promo about them, going back to the roots, becoming new, emerging heel versions of the characters that they've created. It's cool. It's a really cool concept. It was entertaining to watch, and I liked the promos and how they kind of rifted off each other. Him and Woods. But I think now would be a good time to actually bring in some extra layers into the storytelling of the New Day by bringing back the Jamaican sensation. But how would you do that? Especially since everything that has been, you know, brought to light about his actual origin and, um, you know, how he's been perceived currently, even losing his accent. How do we bring him back without it seeming hypocritical, you know? And I think I may have a solution to that. So we know that the New Day, or whatever this New Day is, whatever they'll decide to make the faction out to be, what if they have some kind of lumberjack match, right? Just to bring some esteem to themselves as heel characters. But let's say it goes horribly wrong and Kofi Kingston ends up getting hurt. Now, not hurt, but on screen hurt in a way that causes some concussion that leads to amnesia. Follow me now. This is, all right. So the amnesia brings him back to, well, the old version of himself. It brings him back to that part of himself where he still has an accent. It brings him back to not only a part of himself that still has the accent, but it brings him back to a time just after he just had the feuds with guys like Randy Orton. You remember that famous car that he destroyed for Randy Orton? And how he and Drew McIntyre had actually fought over the Intercontinental Championship, having to relinquish it because Vince McMahon had intervened. It would be the perfect time, like if they were to have him, for the first couple of weeks after the concussion, right? Slowly, we see like signs of him going back to his old self. Woods, maybe tries to wake him up and bring him back to how he is in current day, right? But that it doesn't work, or maybe we see like little glimpses. Maybe his head is hurting, little stuff like that. And we somewhere along the line we get him backstage and he interacts with either the current day Randy Orton or the current day Drew McIntyre, and he's shocked. He's shocked by how they look now. So we're still playing on the comedy aspect of it, but we're pretty much setting up so we can actually run back a lot of the classic matches that they did have, right? So we're gonna see Randy versus Kofi Kingston. We're gonna see Drew McIntyre. He's gonna probably make fun of Drew McIntyre finally growing out a beard, and even maybe commenting on him changing his music. Keeping it, still reminiscent and the nostalgia aspects tied in. We even see him come out to his own music, doing the boom, 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 and um, slowly though, when these classic matches are going on, we still see the heelness from the current day New Day still seeping in. We still have Xavier Woods trying to like wake him up, and we're still seeing the heelish behavior there, but it's not gonna be, all of a sudden him just going back to his original self. In fact, I prefer we go down the route of a hybrid where he still has a lot of the heelish nature, but he is not going to, just go back to just being, you know, Kofi Kingston mid Carter Island sensation. Okay, we're gonna actually have him over time. Maybe him and Woods can't come to an agreement. He's not just not seeing the light of what or who he is currently, right? And Woods ends up having an altercation with him. Maybe not a true fight in the sense, but maybe they have an altercation that leads to a huge feud that they can't reconcile from. This brings back in Big E, but in this timeline, right? Big E actually turns heel with Kofi Kingston and beats up Xavier Woods. So maybe he can't do the full fighting, but maybe he gets in a hit, and then Kofi hits Trouble in Paradise, right? And then does the boom drop. Seeing him turn on Xavier Woods, we then get to Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, trying to become the voice of reason, ends up doing the one thing that you should never do to a Jamaican. He ends up on his clocks. Stepping on his clocks, and that is enough to set Kofi Kingston off. We've just been basically testing the waters with heel Jamaican sensation Kofi Kingston. Now he goes full heel, and it sets up a match between him and Cody Rhodes, where he does everything bad and heelish, trying to win the match, and then we get Big E, the guy who is, beloved universally, actually ends up being the one who costs Cody Rhodes the match. Kofi Kingston wins, becoming a Jamaican bad man fan for the WWE screen. Now, the thing about this, it would have to be layered in such a way that it's not rushed, right? It's just like little things. Like how when you had Roman Reigns slowly becoming the tribal chief, slowly developing the layers of that persona. It would slowly like that. We slowly see the cracks in him being Kofi Kingston again, the Jamaican version, right? Then we'd see him slowly get darker and more misguided, and then we bring in Xavier Woods. Then so so we have the heel manager and Kofi Kingston, which would be such a nice dynamic to see, and that also sets Xavier Woods free to actually go into singles competition, right? So maybe he's still, maybe all right. So maybe we don't even fully turn him face. Maybe Xavier Woods wouldn't even fully turn face, right? Maybe Xavier Woods would actually be what do you call it now? A brooding heel, a heel that feels betrayed by not only Kofi Kingston but also Big E again, right? And he ends up going after the maybe United States Championship, or maybe he ends up, we just give him the nudge to go into maybe a match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Why not? He does have the talent, and he does have the persona and the presence. It's just that he's never really been given that singles push to become, you know, what he could become. But that's just me. That's how we bring back Kofi Kingston. Yeah, man.